Our new president has given Harper College the ability to talk together and plan together and come up with some goals, a limited number, that where there'll be shared risk, but you're working together and you're controlling your own destiny. So my advice to you is get in those groups and make the best case you can for the passion you have for the students you represent.
I want to, your question is, first of all, I want to congratulate you for having the courage to say what a lot of people may be feeling, but it's a hard thing to say in front of a group of peers, and so I appreciate that because it allows us to deal with it openly and honestly. You're at Harper College, you probably should get a response from the president. Ken Ender, can I chime you in on this?
I thought it was a great point. I didn't hear it as a question, but a point. And I guess I have three perspectives around it. One is I fundamentally believe about organizational life. They either grow or they die. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's any absolute question that we have to grow. Mm-hmm. Two, because you're where you are, it's your responsibility. Because it's my responsibility, because it's John Peters' responsibility. Everybody in this room has been blessed with the opportunity that a lot of the folks you work with haven't. And I will bet my presidency that the future of our country is those students.
Right.
Our country will be okay with our honor students, but our country will not grow, flourish, prosper, compete, have the life that we had if we don't figure out how to get to your students. And then last, none of this can happen if we don't figure out how to connect to those people and leverage those resources that we have. So in that way, we are together, we are joined by this mission, if you will. And none of us are safe. Me, you. John, you're not even safe, and I heard you got a pretty good contract.
Well, Ken, thanks. And let me add to that before we switch gears a little. You know, what you need to understand is go read the policy directions coming from Washington attached to the largest pot of money ever from the federal system that had targeted the community colleges. And if you don't see that the language in those bills is directed at your customers, you're missing something big. This administration wants to integrate adult basic education into the mainstream, get those people in to competencies, chunkable, stackable credentials that can lead all the way up through four-year institutions and beyond, at their choice and based on their life needs and abilities to participate. So Ken made it well. I mean, you have to figure it out, but the B part of that is there's a lot of money out there for institutions that are willing to tackle that and model how to do it. In your comment, you made the question about trust. How do we take the leap of faith? How do we get started again? There was some comments made, Jennifer, you started them, about you were the first person also to start to mention actual sectors. I think you talked about manufacturing. I think you talked about logistics and transportation. I don't even remember them all. And Dr. Sam, you talked about what I equated to transformational leadership. You talked about BRIC countries having the American swagger, which I always say to audiences, it's amazing to me how well we trained the rest of the world. Why did we forget the lessons? And how does this region develop a swagger? I mean, and what is the responsibility of leadership to be transformational leaders, to figure out what the sectors are that are going to be our future, to align around them and create a vision that actually gets to the aspirations of our young people? Does anybody want to tackle that? I know it's a large question, but I'm not sure you can get where we want to go without talking about it. Anybody want to jump in on that?
Well,
you notice I'm going to wait, right? I got a lot of time.
Let me jump into it.
Go ahead. Go for it.
First of all, you have to make sure that the people in your region end up staying in your region. So you don't educate them and then they go elsewhere. the best way is to have a first-class community college with articulation to the local four-year institutions. Northern Illinois, we offer a BSN on our campus. Wonderful. So we have a nurse in a local hospital who gets a degree from ECC and then ends up staying in the community. So that is critical. If you do not have a pipeline for that individual, they'll go somewhere else to go and work and improve the quality of life over there. And so that is the first thing. They know that they can get a whole spectrum of education in the community, get jobs in the community, and then make a living in the community. That is a start. And then you build on with some of the cultural infrastructures and so forth. Community college, we offer that. Some of the things we offer in the way of cultural activities, phenomenal. I joke about the college. Yeah, you can have it without driving all the way downtown Chicago. The parking cost, the popcorn cost, and everything. You can get it less expensively on the community college campus. So we are doing that. We can supersize that. And we need to continue to work in collaboration with the four-year institutions, other community colleges, to make sure that we get it done, because one institution cannot do it alone.
Anybody else want to
Pharmaceuticals are strong. Biotech has great possibilities when you're looking at the infrastructure. Leveraging off of what was some of the world's best scientists, particle scientists at Fermi Lab, although there's some question that the U.S. has lost its lead to CERN. Logistics in this, I'm talking about the whole region.
Yeah,
it
good.
Depends on
Go
where you
for it.
are.
Great.
Logistics is incredibly strong in distribution centers, and not just. I always get mad at the people in DeKalb. They say we don't want those $13 an hour jobs at the Target distribution center, but it's what you can get in the secondary and tertiary market if you have a rail port and you fix tow motors and.
And some of these adult basic education customers need to start in that job. Maybe.
Regional airport. Engineering can be strong in the Rockford area, again, with the right investments, and anything in medical or health. I'm not sure about high tech anymore, because when I first came, I was part of the East-West corporate corridor, and that thing collapsed with the .com, and now Motorola's talking about maybe the environment here isn't. I haven't given up on that. We have water resources. We have power. We have a good labor supply. Our labor costs are too high. I hate to say that. Education structure is pretty good. Venture capitalists here are very conservative, and that's a problem.
We need to get them that American swagger. Mayor, why not you talk about leadership? Go for it.
I had the privilege of being part of the interview committee that spoke with Dr. Ender before he was hired at Harper College. And the one thing that struck me, and the one thing I think is so important to answer that question, is the willingness and eagerness to be part of the community and to reach out to the community and not to look inside. You're never going to react to the community sitting inside. The only way you're going to react to what's going on in the world is by being outside. And that was one of Dr. Ender's very strong points when he was talking about his vision for Harper College, and one of the reasons that I was very impressed with him during that interview process. And I think that's important. The plan that you put together for Harper has to be agile, but it has to be able to reach out and understand so that the agility can be put into place.
He does, Dr. Ender understands who his customer is.
Right.
And the college needs to understand who their customer is to be able to move forward into the next 10 years and be a success. And I can't say that more dramatically. You need to understand who your customer is. They're your students.
I've got another one for that might be
Real
the
quick,
next candidate for the BASM, and that is, there are more non-governmentals in the Chicago area, pound for pound, than any place in the world, and we are beginning to focus very heavy nonprofits. The rest of the world calls them non-governmental. We call them not-for-profits. The millennials would rather be entrepreneurs in not-for-profits than in traditional business enterprise.
Right. And